Hey there, it's Dave Altavilla for HotHardware.com, and this is our review of the Boxee Box by D-Link. Now, the Boxee Box is a high-definition digital media player for your entertainment center, and it's competitive with the likes of Apple's Apple TV or perhaps Google's Google TV service that you can find embedded in devices on the market currently. However, obviously the Boxee Box runs the Boxee platform software package for streaming of TV on demand, as well as music and video from a number of different sources like Voodoo, Netflix, and YouTube. And it will also connect to your network for streaming of your own digital media content, whether it be pictures or video or what have you. And you can also attach devices directly to it, like a USB drive or perhaps a flash card for reading your own media content from local devices to the Boxee Box. The device supports a number of video and audio formats, including MP3 and WAV, Adobe Flash 10.1, H.264 video, DivX, XVID, and WMV9. So lots of different formats. A multitude of other formats are supported with the Boxee Box. And let's take you around the features of the device. Now, the kit itself is pretty straightforward. With the system, you get an HDMI cable for connecting it to your entertainment center. And the Boxee Box, by the way, is HDMI 1.3 compatible. You get this AC power adapter, pretty small brick for powering the system. Various documentation, including an installation guide, and this is the Boxee Box remote. On the front side of the remote, you have this menu button, a play pause button, a 4-position rocker for navigating around high-level menu options in the Boxee interface, and then a select button right here in the middle of the rocker. Flip the remote over and you have a full QWERTY keyboard for entering text into a web browser or perhaps for registering with a Boxee service on the platform. You also have menu button, enter, and delete. So a pretty full function remote to go with the Boxee Box itself. Now, this is the unit, and as you can see, definitely sort of an artsy sort of approach. It's a square 4.5-inch by 4.5-inch roughly box, but as you can see, chopped off here on the bottom and sort of tilted at an angle. And if you look underneath, this yellow-green rubberized material is inserted here on the bottom of the device, and Boxee has etched their logo along with D-Link. So sort of a really artsy concept, if you will, that Boxee has gone with the Boxee Box. On the back side of the unit, you have a pair of USB 2.0 ports, 10100 Ethernet port. And by the way, plenty of bandwidth actually to run the device across a network or to the internet. Gigabit Ethernet, not available currently, but we didn't have an issue with any lag over 10100 connection. HDMI output, optical output, and analog audio output, and a power jack right there for plugging in that power brick we showed you earlier. SD MMC flash card reader slot on this side and a power button on the top, and that's pretty much it. That is the Boxee Box in total. What you don't see here is an 802.11n G and B Wi-Fi radio that is inside the unit, and we did connect the device up to our network over 802.11n. And let's go ahead and hook it up and show you how it runs. So we've gone ahead and hooked up the Boxee Box to our entertainment center, and we're connected over a standard HDMI cable to a Pioneer Elite THX certified stereo surround sound receiver, and then piped out to a 50-inch Panasonic plasma television. So a pretty high-end setup for the Boxee Box is what you're looking at here. And this is Boxee's primary home screen, what we would call their 10-foot user interface. And you can toggle around real quickly to the primary areas of Boxee's environment. You've got a friends area, watch later, shows, movies, apps, and files. And we can just flip through real quick and you can see that Intel's C4100 Atom processor platform here actually powers the user interface fairly quickly, pretty snappy here. We're actually looking at the friends feed. We've got a Twitter feed piped in here, so the social networking aspect of Boxee's environment at work here. And you can see some movies that folks have flagged for Twitter. And there's a number of other subsections which we'll step through for you next. So the watch later feature of the Boxee Box is pretty self-explanatory. Not a lot of rocket science going on here. It's a list of shows that you've tagged to watch later. Go figure. But let's show you how that's done. Let's go over to our shows menu. And here you can see we've got a feed of a bunch of different types of content from various sources. We've got the major networks represented here, Comedy Central, The Daily Show. Let's go ahead and pull that up. And we can toggle down to an episode here. This is one with Bill Gates. Why not? Bill, good old Bill. We can go ahead and share that out over our social networking feeds like Twitter if we have that configured, or we can tag it to watch later. So I've gone ahead and clicked watch later, and the Boxee Box has now added that to our watch later list. That episode should come up as we toggle back to the home screen, and there's Bill in our watch later list. So let's go ahead and pull that up, and you can see Comedy Central's WebKit browser interface page, if you will, on the Boxee Box, and we'll go ahead and stream this show for you now. This is over an 802.11n wireless connection, so not exactly the most optimal experience for the Boxee Box. We recommend you connect this with a gigabit Ethernet or 10100 Ethernet connection if you have a wired connection available, but Wi-Fi is built into the unit, so that is definitely a possibility. And as you can see, it's actually pretty responsive, not bad. Again, we've got a pretty good Wi-Fi connection. We wouldn't say the signal quality is great, but it's an 802.11n wireless router that we're piping through right now. Of course, we've got to get a little commercial interruption here, and after that, we will be streaming our episode of The Daily Show. But here we are in full screen mode for the episode, and as soon as this commercial is done, we might get a few more Comedy Central commercials, but you'll see shortly that The Daily Show does stream in. And this is the player interface, the WebKit player interface from Boxee, and hopefully we're just about done now, and now we're about to stream The Daily Show. So there it is, and it takes a little bit to cache, it seems, a little bit grainy at first, but the image quality does get better as the show is streamed in slowly. It does improve a little bit, and this is not a full high def image quality that we have. There you go, a little bit better for you, but not too bad actually. And Jon Stewart in his usual rare form. So that's the shows feature and the watch later feature. Let's go ahead and leave that. We can go back to the browser view if you'd like to see that, or we can go ahead and leave and go back to our main user interface, and we'll look at some movies next. And so just like the shows menu list is a listing of TV content that's available on the Boxee Box, the movies list is a listing of movie content obviously available on the Boxee Box from a number of different providers. And this is kind of like one big pipe of movie content from anybody like big guys like Voodoo, for example. They came to the platform recently, to smaller providers like Open Film, for example, they're in here. But it's one big repository for movies on the platform. But let's go back to the main menu here and fire up the apps feature of the Boxee Box. And this is core to what we feel is the Boxee Box experience. These are specific applications that content providers have developed for the platform to pipe their content in. Let's fire up the Pandora app, one of our favorite music streaming apps. It took us a couple times to get this registered with the Boxee Box, by the way, in our account. Had to do that a couple of times for some reason, but it seems to have smoothed itself out here. And let's play a little bit of AC/DC for you. You can see a nice visualization from Pandora. And it sounds great. I mean, no question the quality here, the fidelity is good. And we are streaming this over an 802.11n wireless connection. We recommend a gigabit Ethernet or a 10100 Ethernet connection for the Boxee Box, but Wi-Fi is on board. We are actually connected to an 802.11n wireless router. And so the experience is still quite good, although perhaps more optimal on a wired network for sure. And we'll go ahead and pause that and click back to our apps list. And we'll show you the Voodoo app. Now, Voodoo came to Boxee about a month or so ago, and they have a really nice interface for their library of HD video content. They've actually got top run movies here that you can rent on a nightly basis, and you can browse by genre, you can browse by most watched, you can search for movies, what have you. Let's go ahead and pull up the Voodoo interface for you so you can see that. As you can see, you've got a number of different options for purchasing movies. HDX, super high definition 1080p content for $5.99, HD 720p content for $4.99, and standard definition for $3.99. Or you can actually own a movie for $14.99 or $19.99 for the high def version. Let's go ahead and pull up a trailer. This is actually a standard definition trailer that's available now currently on Voodoo. And you can see that the interface is quite smooth and the movie's streaming in nicely here. And you've got stop, pause, fast forward, reverse, all the basic menu options available. And that's a look at Voodoo, and looking pretty good. And of course, the big buzz, Netflix has come to the Boxee platform as of February 14th, Valentine's Day. So let's go ahead and fire that up for you now. And the Netflix app takes a little bit to load, and then actually nice interface. You've got some movie suggestions based on your user. New arrivals, you can sort by genre, and whatever's in your instant queue, what you've tagged to watch on your account. But let's go ahead and fire up a movie that we've already purchased. We've got Meet the Parents here. It's an HD film, and we're going to resume playing that and show you the Netflix interface. It's actually pretty nice. So we're actually retrieving that movie now. It's again streaming over an 802.11n wireless connection. This is not a wired connection, so not completely optimal, but then again, pretty darn impressive. Looking good here. And we'll go ahead and show you a nice feature of the Netflix app where you can actually flip through scenes very much like you would in a DVD and go to whatever scene you happen to want to watch. So we're going to load that scene up now at the 10-minute mark, it looks like. And here we are at that scene. So pretty impressive. And that's the Netflix app on the Boxee platform. So again, over a wireless connection here, not wired, and looking pretty good for HD video and a first-rate movie. And you can see there's a whole host of other apps that are available from various content providers. YouTube's got the Lean Back app here, which is actually a nice curated feed of top-rate videos on YouTube. TED's in here, and a number of different providers, Mubi, Vivo, AccuWeather for a weather app. Lots of different stuff here. But let's go ahead and show you the files feature of the Boxee Box. And this is your personal content, what you happen to have loaded to it via either USB connection or perhaps on an SD card or a network. And let's go ahead and do some network streaming. And we'll go to our server here. This is actually a network file server we have online. And let's go down to our family pics folder. So we'll go ahead and pull up some pictures and scroll down here. And you can see the image interface, the picture interface. Let's scroll up to Cape Vacation, why not? So over here on the right, you've got a preview of the actual picture. You can go ahead and toggle down and view pictures, or you can pull up the picture, hit play, and it will put it into a slideshow mode. So kind of nice. That's me and good old dad. Just play here. As you can see, it'll move in, zoom around, and then pan over to the next picture in the next frame. 3 generations there. Good stuff. So that's the picture interface with your basic slideshow sort of application. Let's go ahead and look at a high definition movie trailer we've got loaded. This is a 1080p H.264 QuickTime clip that we've loaded up. And as you can see, we're streaming it again over that 802.11n wireless connection. Looking real good. I mean, it's pretty smooth. Again, would recommend going wired, but no problems here with the Boxee Box and this 1080p HD movie trailer clip that we've got from our network share. So that's the files interface, and that is a quick high-level overview of the Boxee Box by D-Link. Stop by the site for our full review with all the details. I'm Dave Altavilla for Hot Hardware. Thanks for stopping by.